Hi everybody, Ben here from Art Less Ordinary. So I'm going to do a paper towel swipe this time. So it will be similar to this one that I did at another stage, but I'm using blues again, but I'm going to go silver as my swipe colour. So that is the plan. So I have mixed up my three colours using 55 grams paint and 55 grams pouring medium. My pouring medium is Elmer's clear glue 70%, water 30%. Then my swipe colour is 1 part paint to 1.5 parts pouring medium, and I added about 4 drops of silicone into this. I don't know how much paint I have here. It's probably about 30 grams in total, including paint and pouring medium. I have cut my paper towels into slithers or swipe sized, and I'm virtually all ready to go. And I've got a corner catcher, so I want to use the corner catcher so I don't waste too much paint. So first colour will be the medium. We are just putting this on haphazardly because we're tilting and it will all get mixed up anyway. So you just want to get as much paint out as you can. You don't want to waste too much of it. There is no silicone in any of these colours except for the swipe colour. Then I did the medium blue first. Then I'm going to go the light blue. I actually have a feeling that medium blue was a tiny bit thicker as well. Scrape this paint out. Excellent. And then I'm going the darkest blue first because I want the darker blue to actually be the more dominant colour. So if you do it last, hopefully it will sit on top a little bit more than the other colours, but it's not always a guarantee. Excellent. So there's the 3 colours done. So before I go any further, I will put gloves on. Otherwise I'll look like a Smurf when I go to work with blue hands, because the blue for some reason sticks to my skin. The colour takes a little while to come off. So we're just moving it around. Not going over the edges just yet. Get my corner catcher ready. Into the corner, come back. Take the catcher away, get the next one ready. Bring the paint back to the middle. Then go to the side that you want. Into that corner, back, take the catcher off, bring the paint back to the middle, into the corner, back, catcher off. So it's relatively simple to cover the canvas. I can carry this over the canvas because I'm swiping it anyway. It's the only time I say you can do that. So we've got the paint back in the middle. Now just make sure that where you had your corner catcher there is paint covering those edges. Sometimes the corner catcher prevents just a little bit of paint touching some of the sides. All the way along, yeah. Just grabbing that extra paint that's coming off. There we go. Alright, excellent. So now the canvas is covered. So I will quickly torch this. It's not necessary. I do have a few bubbles I can see. And because there's no silicone, I can torch this without problems. Alrighty, done. Now, the fun part is swiping. Well, I find it fun. So we just get one piece of our paper towel. We put it in the paint to about 1/2 centimetre. Make sure there's no drips. Then place it down and drag. Try and keep the paper towel quite level so then you get an even drag. You don't want it to lift up. It's not a huge amount of silver there, but that's okay. See if I can grab a little bit more silver this time. Whoops, that's too much, I think. So I do let the paper towel just overlap a tiny little bit. You don't want it to overlap too much. Just stops you from getting a bald spot. So the silver does react a little bit differently. The white seemed to drag a lot more through it. And I am going to try and have to keep my line a little bit more straighter. So because the paint is a little bit thick in the middle, sometimes the silver's not dragging straight away. So there's going to be a little bit less silver in this than I initially thought. But it may show up when it dries. It may just be you can't see it as much while wet. So the other times I use the white. And I thought I really need to try a different colour. Because the thing is, with doing it this way, you actually use hardly any of this white paint. So you end up having a lot to do more artworks with. There we go. Okay, so this is the first side. Now I'm going to pick the canvas up and rotate it. Just going to get a paper towel for my fingers because I know they're going to get dirty. But I was really pleased with how these turned out. My first one was probably not so great. Well, it was good, but I got better at it each time I've done one. So keep that in mind, that if the first time you do it, you're like, oh, I'm not happy with this. You learn from doing it. So don't do it once and give up. You got to try a couple more times. And if you see improvement each time you do it, keep at it until you get the results that you desire, because that is the way that this works. Most of the fluid art is that way. Don't ever just give up the first time you do something, because it doesn't mean that you're failing, it just means that you have to learn. Try and get close to where I was before. Swipe. I got my knuckle in the paint, but luckily I swipe where my knuckle was. So I would have to say, this is actually quite a fun type of swipe to do, so I do recommend it to try. So I first decided to do this after watching Julie Katz do it, and I loved the way that it looked, so I decided to try it for myself. My paint, my pouring medium's different, so I've had to adjust accordingly. And that's the same with everything. If you want to do something that other people do, but you don't have those exact ingredients, you may just have to adjust what you do to suit what you have. You may have different brands. So I think I'm using the same brand of paint, but I'm using a different brand of pouring medium. Okay, last swipe. The edges are always a little bit more trickier. There we go. Alrighty, so got my lid for my container. Put that back on so this can be stored away and used next time. So I wouldn't leave that paint for a huge amount of time because it will thicken up. So that silver has gone, I can see now with the reflecting, the silver has gone all the way to the edge. It's just lighter. So you'll have to wait for it to dry to actually see the full shimmering effects of this. So now's the other fun part. Well, fun and nerve-wracking, I would have to say. is the torching. You could use a torch or a heat gun. You need to heat up the silicone for it to create cells. I'm going to try and avoid that center piece. I want to get more around the edges and try to keep that center bit a little bit of how it already is with the silver. So just go gently. Trying to get cells without those clusters that I do get. So sometimes you just have to take it easy. Some parts of silicon will be closer to the surface, and you will get cells easier in one spot and harder in another. Just try to go a little bit easy with it. Yeah, I'm going to move over to this side now. Just moving my blowtorch around and getting ever so slightly closer. Whoops. I've got my blowtorch on low, so it might look like I'm doing a lot of torching, but it's not super fast or hot. Now they keep wanting to come up in clusters. No matter how much I try and keep them a little bit spaced out, now I'm going to go back to this other side. Whoa, that got close. I am going to have to try this one day with the heat gun and not the blowtorch and see if I get different, more control with clusters, with cells or not. I'm not too sure. I'm going to stop. And that heat gun is so hot, you do not want that near anything. Pets, children, anything that can catch on fire, be very cautious with it. So, the cells are definitely smaller this time, for two reasons. One, the paint's a little bit thicker, and two, they came up in clusters. When they come up in clusters, they tend to push against each other and they can't grow as easily. But that's okay. I actually like ones that have bigger cells and ones that have smaller cells. As you can tell, I've tried avoiding getting cells in here because sometimes the silicone is very thick where this paint is, where the silver is thicker, that the cells go a little bit funny shaped. This one here, you can see some of them have gone a little bit odder shaped compared to the ones that are further out. So I avoided getting too many in that section. But that's where I think I would like to try with the heat gun and see if I can control it a little bit better. But I'm happy with this, and I can't wait to see what that shimmer from the metallic looks like. Yes, there is gaps. There is nothing wrong with those gaps. It adds dimension and something different. If you don't like them, don't put them there. This is all fun and trial and error. You will learn what you like and what you don't like. So, I'm actually pretty sure this is about it. All as I do have to do, pardon me, you must scrape your edges, otherwise you will get funny, your cells will start getting pulled off, and you don't really want that. I think my paint's quite thick, where I'm not going to get a lot of that type of movement. Oh, I touched the canvas right there, mostly on the edge. Try and avoid to do that. That's my own fault. I should have just moved the corner catcher out the way when I tried going around it. And always keep that in mind. If you've got stuff in your way, move it out the way. You're more likely to make a mistake like I did if you try to move yourself around the obstacle. Alrighty. So we'll just check those edges again in another 5-10 minutes. For now, I've cleaned off my tool, so it's ready for next painting if I don't have to swipe again. This is it. So now we'll come down for a close-up. And there we go. So I'm really happy with this one. I like my cells a little bit better shaped, more controlled. And I don't have too much in the middle where I've got the extra metallic colour. So we'll come down and have a look at some of these cells because they are pretty cool. Like, see all the tiny little ones? Lots of effects in there. Pretty awesome. All different colours. I like the darker blue, that's why I put that on top. Then we got this silver, but look how the silver gets these really nice streaks. There is bubbles in them, but I'm not going to heat it up because they will pop with silicone in it and I'll get way too much happening. So maybe stir your silver a little bit more gentle than I did. But awesome cells all the way through it. Like, look at that. Really cool. Now we've got some paint doing a really cool effect over here, kind of different. Alrighty, so this is the finished artwork. I'll show it in a future video once it's dried, so you can actually see the metallic shimmer in it. So I hope you like this. So comment, like, share my video, and subscribe if you have not already. And yeah, just let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next time for another pour. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.